Major League Baseball historic numbers. We're no stranger to those as of late because there are two guys, one in each league, that are doing absolute damage, and that's Aaron Judge and it's Shohei Ohtani. What a wonderful baseball season for both of these players. MVPs, no doubt about it. But let's take a look at some of these historical outlooks that we could be looking at, and starting with Aaron Judge. Just looking at the season, Dubs, that he's having right now, a .333 batting average, 51 home runs, 122 RBI, and an OPS of 1.197. Absolutely flat out incredible. The MVP, no doubt about it. But if we are looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook and seeing what Aaron Judge could possibly do this year, 63 plus home runs, that's at a minus 110 price. For him, it's 65 plus home runs. That's a plus 240 price. 70 plus home runs, getting into that Barry Bonds territory at a 27-1. Let's just start with Aaron Judge and what he's done this season in that Yankees pinstripes. It's been nothing short of phenomenal. And yes, he could hit 60 plus home runs this year. Incredible.
It's truly a tremendous feat. And for the Yankees, when a lot of the other big superstars, I guess some of the other in the lineup really have got a little missing, Aaron Judge continues to be the superstar that they need in New York. You look at the key numbers here: leads in dingers, first in ribbies, first in OPS at 32 years of age. We saw over last weekend, puts him right back on pace to hit that 63 mark and counting. You know, back in the day, Donnie, they say there was only one Babe Ruth. Well, we've got a couple right now with him and Showtime Ohtani. But for Aaron Judge, the big fella continues to get it done. I think there will be a bit of a slow up towards October. And I feel like I'm being quite the pessimist here on a Wednesday, but no two ways about it. Aaron Judge and what he is doing this year for the Pinstripes is truly special stuff. The guy's an absolute mountain. It doesn't matter who's throwing at him. The stuff that he faces on the nightly, he is just seeing them so well and continues to send them yard at a high clip.
I mean, if we're looking at Aaron Judge here on the season, because as we know, like, power hitters aren't supposed to do this. Are they supposed to hit home runs? Absolutely. But usually it's like, hey, Dubs, Aaron Judge hitting 232. That's okay. He's got 50 home runs. Like, he's one of the best averages in Major League Baseball for a power hitter, which is astounding to actually think about that. So he's still getting the singles, the doubles, and the home runs here and doing it at a high rate. But now as we take a look at, and I think you brought up a key ingredient here, in the month of September, let's just say he does cool off. But a lot of times, Dubs, that's not because of his own doing. When you are in a pennant race, when you are in a divisional race, other teams are going to get smart to the game and go, now hold on. He's hitting .333 with 51 bombs. We haven't even got to September. Why are we pitching to this guy? So if you were to wager on 63, 65, or 70 plus home runs, that has to cross into your mind, because it's not as if it's batting practice like every single night. You know they're going to pitch to him, because there's going to be times like, ooh, let me bet Aaron Judge to get an RBI tonight. Let me bet him to hit a home run. Hey, look at this. Runners on second and third with 2 outs. Aaron Judge is up. You know where he's going, Dubs? He's going to first base on an intentional walk at that point. So if you are betting Judge down the stretch, is that creeping into your mindset now where he might just not get the opportunities, let alone the execution?
Absolutely. And a lot has to go in favor. I mean, we got to take a pause and say, we're talking about Aaron Judge to potentially put up 63 home runs. This is wild. You know, if we go back to the regular season, at the start of the regular season, you'd be saying, no, he's never going to get back to 62. So much has to go right in favor. You've highlighted the struggles he will have going against opposing teams. Their aces, they're going to put him straight on first, take the gloves off, so he might not have ample opportunity. It's like looking at a football game where the total's at 70 points. A lot has to go right to get 63 home runs for the season. I don't care if he's already got 51 and still climbing. It's not a question towards Aaron Judge and his ability or the way he's seen him. It's just about the situation that the opposition will put him in. And I think those chances will start to shorten up, and it will be tougher and tougher on the nightly for Aaron Judge to continue to put up these dingers. So at 63 plus at minus 110, I think that's a pretty sharp number.
And by the way, Juan Soto, you just saw that graphic that flashed up on the screen, 50-plus home runs for him this year. That's at a 7-1 price. He's currently sitting at 37 home runs. If you want to combine the two at the FanDuel Sportsbook and have some fun with that, Judge and Soto to have 110-plus home runs combined, that's at a plus 145 price. Judge and Soto to have 115-plus home runs, that's at a 9-1 price. Now, in the American League, it is going to be absolutely Aaron Judge running away with the MVP. The National League, the same thing. Shohei Ohtani came off off-season surgery to repair his elbow. There were questions whether or not he was even going to start the season, let alone play the full extent of the season. The one thing we do know, he wasn't going to pitch this season. They're hoping to get him on the mound next year. But my goodness, when you pay $700 million, you better get a return back on your investment. You see the statistics there. A 294 average, 41 home runs, 94 RBI. And keep in mind, he's not batting in the fourth or fifth hole where the table is always set. He's primarily, since Mookie Betts got hurt, the leadoff hitter and still stays in that leadoff position today. But how about this? Shohei Ohtani, Dubs, 40 stolen bases. He does it all.
Yeah, became the sixth member of the 40-40 club, and he looks to be the consummate professional. You know, never met Ohtani, but looks to be a real locker room guy, and it's $700 million. Yes, that's a whopping price tag, but you could make the argument he has exceeded expectations, and that's a big thing to say for the Dodgers, where there's certainly a lot of expectations for all of their firepower. For Ohtani, after that injury, of course there's going to be concerns. He's still 30 years of age. He's not getting any younger, but from what we've seen this year for the Dodgers, where they've had their own struggles, their own inconsistencies, I mean, this guy continues to step up and deliver on the nightly, and I just feel like he's got this, this gravitas towards the special occasion, doing special things. Not that Aaron Judge doesn't have that either, but this is a guy who can absolutely take the Dodgers back to the World Series heights. So he has been absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see if they can get him back out there on the hill next season. But from what we've seen this year, Showtime Ohtani continues to do very special things, Donnie.
I mean, locked in as well. And also, let's remind ourselves, like sometimes when you have a little bit of turmoil in your personal life, it sort of spills over onto the Major League Baseball diamond or wherever you work. But how about this year? You know, gambling, getting millions of dollars stolen from him from his interpreter, and still going out and putting an MVP showcase performance on a night-to-night basis. That's phenomenal. If we are looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook with some options to bet Ohtani this year, how about the 50-50 club? 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, a plus 170 price. That's ridiculous. Ohtani to get the triple crown, which means batting average, home runs, and RBI. That's 10-1. Marcell Ozuna of the Braves, if he can crack into it, a plus 750 price for the triple crown. Aaron Judge, who we talked about, a plus 520 price to win the triple crown. And then there's Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians, who's a sensational player to get to the 40-40 club. That's at a plus 130 price. Imagine that. A 50-50 player, Dubs. That's unbelievable.
It really would be. And again, we're playing the situations. I think Ohtani's probably got a better chance of getting the 50-50 club than trying to win that triple crown at 10-1. Ohtani's still going to have plenty of chances moving through the next month here in terms of the stolen bases. That's not going to be really affected there. So I love what I'm seeing from Showtime Ohtani. I think that's where I'd be looking, the 50-50 club. And Donnie, you know, throughout earlier that, you know, Babe Ruth, we've seen some special generational talents come and go through Major League Baseball. Has there ever been a generation where we've had two superstars at the peak of their powers squaring off like we're seeing this year?
And almost, how about this? Last year, Shohei Ohtani was in the American League. So imagine if these two players were still in the American League and doing battle. Who would actually get that MVP? We're going to set that question up to the public here a little bit later in the show when we hit the fade the public. But these two players having absolutely sensational seasons. Now, the one thing you want to focus on Aaron Judge is, you know, there's a running joke around here at the SportsGrid Network. Joe Freezer, the producer of the show, along with Ben Stevens, maybe they don't think that Aaron Judge will be the favorite next year in the MVP race. That's very questionable thinking, people. We'll debate that much more next. Hour number 3 officially underway right here on the early line, Sirius XM channel 159 on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside, Dubs Anderson, bringing that heat. And 2 hours already down. How many professional sports have we talked about? How many great topics have we brought up? And we still, Dubsy, have an hour to go. refreshed and ready. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day. Tomorrow is week number 1 in college football. Next week is the NFL season. You got to be fired up at this time.
What else do we need in our lives, Donnie?
Yeah.
You know, as sports fans and bettors, there's absolutely no shortage. I would make the argument, you know, the anticipation that we have this week on this Wednesday, it could be unmatched going through the calendar year. I'm that bullish, Johnny. I mean, we got everything. We got tennis. We got golf. We're getting set for NFL, college football back there on Saturday. So absolutely jam-packed. It's been a fantastic start to a little happy hump day here on a Wednesday. A couple of nice tickets trending for this afternoon with plenty of big storylines to talk about.
No, absolutely. It's such a great time of year because you start to just get into that flow of football season. Then before you can blink, Dubsy, we're talking about the NBA, the NHL, you know, every college basketball coming back into it. So great stuff here on the horizon, which includes, yes, don't forget about baseball in September. I'm telling you, you can still make some good money there. But obviously we wait for October, and that's playoff baseball. And since we're talking about baseball here, Dubsy, in hour number 3, how about a question for the people out there? Shout out to and in other, the two options were Aaron Judge, Shohei 11% coming in on other people think that maybe these two guys aren't the best players in baseball, which is crazy. But my vote, it actually went towards Aaron Judge. So technically I am outnumbered here with 31% of the vote. Ohtani running away with it. Dubsy, how did you vote in this poll and why?
I'm so biased. I'm so biased to Shohei Ohtani. I'm out here on the West Coast. It's all about the Dodgers. And look, he's top 5 in all key metrics. He became the 6th member of the 40-40 club last weekend. He's got a propensity to do it on the big stage, the special stuff. There's nothing too big for Shohei Ohtani, and we're going to see that going into the playoffs. I truly believe he can carry the Dodgers to World Series. And I guess in the back of my mind, Donnie, and I shouldn't be factoring this in, is that Ohtani hasn't even been out there on the hill pitching this year. So when I look at, is it Judge, is it Ohtani, it's the future lean that sort of keeps creeping in for me. So I've went with Ohtani on that side of things, but we're not seeing it the same, Donnie, on a Wednesday. You're biased towards big, bad Aaron Judge. I mean, continues to do it at a high clip. Why do you think he's the best player on the planet going against Ohtani?
You know what the funny part about it is, Dubs, as I look at this poll, and sometimes it might just be human bias at this point saying, like, this year, if we take a look at it, it should be Aaron Judge because they're on an even playing field. You look at the home runs, you look at the batting average, you look at the RBI, and you say, wow, Aaron Judge is actually playing the field this year as well. Now, we do know once it flips back to next year, and if Shohei Ohtani appears on that mound, and let's just say he's not even an absolutely dominant pitcher, let's just say he goes 12-9 on the mound with an ERA of 3.9 and still is able to throw pitches throughout the season. Nobody else can do that. How can you have a batter that's going to hit 50 home runs and pitch at the same time? It's almost not fair. It's almost like as long as Ohtani has a decent season the next 5 to 6 years, how can he not be the MVP every single year and the best player on the planet because he's doing something nobody else can do? So maybe for me, Dubs, I looked at this poll and said, well, you know what? If I am going to give it to the best player in baseball, at least he plays the field now and Ohtani doesn't and his numbers are strong. But I think you're correct. And the public is right voting this way. If we're just asking ourselves, moving forward, and once Ohtani is fully healthy, I don't see even how you can make an argument that Ohtani wouldn't be the best player on the planet in baseball.
It's the social media team, Donnie. I mean, if they pose the question, who's having a better season, it's Aaron Judge. But if it's who's the better player, well, yeah, I don't know. I keep leaning towards Ohtani here, but truly special stuff. It feels like we've got 2 unicorns going through 2024. Yep. And why do we bother playing the regular season, Donnie? We're now a month out from the playoffs. It's the Yankees as the top betting choice in the AL. It's the Dodgers in the National League. But I'll tell you what, for Ohtani, plus 950, he started the year for MVP honors. He now shortens up to unbackable odds. So even the odds makers were against Ohtani having this bounce back after that off-season injury, but truly special stuff from both players. You'd love to see it there come October.
Like, look at these numbers. And again, Ohtani's a leadoff guy. 294 batting average, 41 home runs, 94 RBI, but 40 stolen bases really sticks out here. Because when you take a look at Aaron Judge on the opposite side, a 333 average, which does best Ohtani right now, 51 home runs, which does best Shohei Ohtani, 122 RBIs, which does best him. But the running is a part of the game. And just something like the 20-20 club or the 30-30 club, right, is crazy for players even to get in there, because the advent of running in Major League Baseball was sort of taken out of the equation over the past 10 to 15 years. Now you have a better chance to run because why? The bases are bigger, which gives you a better advantage of sliding in. And number two, a pitcher just can't throw over to first base 16 times in order to try to check you. You throw over there 2 times, he can't go back. You're open to stealing much more times. But to have a player like Shohei Ohtani, it's not even as if it's like, okay, Ronald Acuna Jr., smaller in stature. We know he's got the speed. Obviously, he got injured this year, but has the power. Like, if you told me, like, he's a 40-40 or 50-50 guy, like, you know what, that makes sense. But Shohei Ohtani, that big body frame out there, Dubsy, is going to possibly get 50 stolen bases along with 50 home runs. It's almost unthinkable.
Yeah, and I guess the production he adds to the Dodgers, I mean, it's unparalleled. It's truly, special stuff. It's the work ethic. It's the professionalism. You see it in the clubhouse. You see it on the daily. There really are no nights off for Shohei Ohtani. But I would ask you, Donnie, which ball club would lose more if they lost their star? Would it be the Yankees without Aaron Judge? Because I feel like the Dodgers, without Ohtani, they'd still be sort of middling along here for Dave Roberts. They've got all these superstars. I know the Pinstripes have got the likes of Stanton and Juan Soto, but I really do think, considering the season that the Yankees have had, Aaron Judge has arguably done more for them than Ohtani has brought for the Dodgers.
I agree. It's a good question you bring up, too, because you're right about that. You just expect the Dodgers to be like next man up, even though it's Shohei Ohtani, the MVP. I think they would be able to weather the storm a little bit better. But also, like, if they lose Ohtani and Mookie Betts goes back into the leadoff spot, but then you're still fighting off the Padres and the Diamondbacks, something to watch. Now, also, we're looking at 2 players that don't really have all that much, if any, success in the playoffs. So both of these guys got paid handsomely, specifically Ohtani. They're performing worth their weight in gold in the regular season. As we line up towards the playoffs, we don't anticipate a cooling off period here, Dubsy, do we? Like, don't we still expect these guys dominant in their game heading into the playoffs to dominate on the biggest stage? And by the way, isn't it great to see Ohtani? He's going to be in the playoffs. How great is that?
Yeah, and Ohtani just feels like he is a player who's going to lift to the occasion. We saw it with the Grand Slam there over the weekend to reach the 40-40 club. There's nothing too big for Ohtani. For Aaron Judge, I think he's going to step up to the mark. But situational analysis, will Judge continue to be put in the same spot from oppositions and have that chance to reach the greatness which the odds makers are trying to tease us with that he could potentially get to? You highlighted that earlier in the show. Judge may not have the same opportunities as Ohtani going through the back end of the season.
I'm telling you, Judge hitting 333 on the season is absolutely astounding. We'll see what these 2 guys do down the stretch and the height that they can reach. You want to handicap some Major League Baseball with us? Come on back to the early line. We're starting that up next.
Welcome back into the early line here on the Sports Grid. Dubs Anderson alongside Donnie Rightside, and we are talking all things baseball. 15 games on tap out there on the Diamonds for your Wednesday afternoon, and we're looking towards the late game. It's the Dodgers playing host to the Orioles. The Orioles got the score there last night, and Donnie, and taking a look at the numbers for this one, projected to be a very close game, right around a pick-em here. It's the Dodgers going with Walker Buehler out there on the hill. It's Corbin Burns towing the slab for Baltimore. 80% of the money points towards the Dodgers, but how do you see this one shaping up?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Dubs, it looks like it should be a pick'em in this contest. You got Corbin Burns, the ace of the staff for the Orioles, on the mound. But having said that, he hasn't been all that great as of late. And if you even take a look at his last 60 days, he's had 52 2/3 innings pitched. How about an ERA of 5.30? That's not good enough yet. He was absolutely dominant to start the season, but now showing some signs of leakage here as of late. xFIP is okay at a 4.02. If we flip it over to the other side, Walker Buehler still trying to find his way here in this Major League Baseball season. 208 batters he's faced, an ISO of 249 and a weighted on base percentage of 400 against him. That's not good enough. If we go over the last 30 days, Dubs, he's only faced 40 total batters. That's a 250 ISO with a weighted on base percentage of 431 against. So something has to give. Either Walker Buehler is going to correct himself on the mound against a very good lineup, or we're going to see Corbin Burns, get back to what we saw at the early parts of the season. I'm willing to roll with the Dodgers. At this price point, for them being at home, I think they can bounce back from that loss yesterday and pick up a victory. The one thing that we need to see from the Orioles, though, is Corbin Burns has to get back to form if the Orioles want to be a player in the AL pennant race.
Expected to be a close one there. That's the late game down in Chavez Ravine. Let's take it back out to the bank. The Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Houston Astros, and it's the Phillies looking to sweep the 3-game series. A couple of starting arms who have been a little vulnerable, to say the least. Spencer Arrighetti gets the start here for the Stros with a 4.94 ERA, and it's Taijuan Walker getting the ball there for the Phillies. It's Houston projected at minus 108. Okay, so very close to a pick 'em there with that market slightly changing. Expected to be another close game here this afternoon, Donnie.
Yeah, how about that, too? The first two games we pick out here, massive implications in the standings, and we're not getting those massive numbers like minus 180, minus 175, roughly a pick 'em on both sides. And how about this? Spencer Arrighetti, to start his Major League season, wasn't very good, but he hasn't been that bad, particularly over the past 60 days here, Dubs. We take a look at him, 51 2/3 innings pitched, an ERA at 4, but an xFIP number that I love to pay attention to at a 3.75. It's very manageable. And even though the Philadelphia Phillies technically have come out of their shell over the past couple games, their numbers over the past month don't show them doing extremely well against right-handed pitching. Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto, similar to yesterday we talked about, still having the best numbers against right-handed pitching. The rest of that lineup leaves a lot to be desired. Even though Arrighetti's not a fantastic pitcher, he has been performing well as of late. You flip it over to the Philadelphia Phillies side with Taijuan Walker on the mound. He has been absolutely brutal on the season. 288 batters in totality. Now, he did spend some time in the IL, but a 248 ISO against and a weighted on base percentage of 389. If we just look at the past 30 days, only 57 batters he's faced, but if you focus on the 26 right-handed batters that he went up against, Dubsy, a 636 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 664. This might be the last stand for Taijuan Walker staying in that starting rotation, and this is a big game today. Maybe we get runs because also 95 degrees at first pitch at 4:05 today at Citizens Bank Park. We might be looking at runs here.
Let's see that ball up for Lion. Phillies trying to go back. Let's take Target with the Minnesota Twins. They're at home taking on the Braves from Target Field. And for the Braves, they've been playing some strong baseball. The Twins, they're still right in the mix here, but have had the skids whilst playing at home. It's the Braves at minus 142 there. No surprises here, Donnie. It's Chris Sale towing the slab for the Braves. A 102 whip. He knows how to keep that production down.
You know Chris Sale's been a good pitcher this entire season. We probably think between him and, let's just say, Zach Wheeler coming down the stretch to win that Cy Young. So if I told you, Dubs, on this card, I got 24 pitchers rated over the past 60 days with at least 20 innings pitched. You know who's number one on the card today? It's not a surprise. It's Chris Sale. Over the past 60 days, he has 54 innings pitched. How about an ERA of 2.33? How about an xFIP number, 2.56? He has been absolutely fantastic. 78-degree temperatures in Minnesota today. Wind blowing in around 6 miles per hour, but that's not the focus. I expect a big performance out of Chris Sale, but how about if I told you by the guy name of David Festa that is on the mound today? You look at that number and say, on the season, hasn't looked really great in totality, but his last 30 days, take a look at this, a 134 ISO against and a weighted on base percentage of 282. Once again, getting back to the pitching charts today, 24 pitchers rated on the card today. I told you Sale was number one. Do you know who number 3 is? That's David Festa. His ERA, yes, it is high at 4.60, but his analytical numbers coming in like the xFIP at a 3.24, he should be able to hang around. Now, am I picking Minnesota to beat Chris Sale? No, I'm not at this point. But I would be surprised, to be honest, if we get more than 8 runs in this game, Dubs. I'll take the under in this one.
A nice little look towards the unders there. And Donnie, for the AL Central, what a showdown we have between the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians out to Ohio. we go. It looks like Cleveland holding favoritism for this one. It was the Royals who looked to have found stride going on the road. Last 3 road games, 3 consecutive wins, looking to make it a streak of 4 here today.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to ride the streaking teams here, Dubs. That's the way it is. And the Kansas City Royals are absolutely hot, but the Cleveland Guardians need a win in the absolute worst way. But I'm not so sure that they don't have the better pitcher on the mound today. If we take a look at Michael Wacha, a 2.47 ERA over the past 60 days. How about Tanner Bybee? 3.38. So slight advantage here to Kansas City in the ERA numbers and also in the analytical numbers. Bybee comes on the mound here. Hasn't really struggled all that much over the past 30 days. A 135 ISO against and a weighted on base percentage of 302. But what do we love about that Kansas City lineup? Look at the weighted on base percentages here of the first 7 guys anticipated in the lineup tonight going up against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. 361, 519, 369, 347, 484, 326, and 312 here. Sometimes, Dubsy, you just got to ride the hot hand, and that right now is with those Kansas City Royals.
Don't even try and fight it. The Pirates with the best ATS numbers in the majors. That game not too far away. Stick with us. Welcome back into the early line. Happy Wednesday. Dubs Anderson alongside Donnie Rightside getting you set for a fantastic hump day of baseball. 15 games out there on the diamond. Let's take it out to the desert. The Diamondbacks, they'd won 6 in a row. They dropped one last night to the Mets. Both teams searching for playoff baseball. A lot of motivation for this one. Luis Severino toes the slab out here this afternoon for the Mets. And taking a look, I feel like we've got a lot of close games expected here from the odds makers. It's now the Diamondbacks taking favoritism, minus 120 on the money line, Donnie.
I'll tell you about this one. If we're just looking at side advantages here, 1 through 9, it's got to be the Arizona Diamondbacks because matchups make these fights. And we're talking about Luis Severino on the mound. Last 30 days, 117 batters that he's faced, a 219 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 364, which is high. Now, take a look at this Diamondbacks lineup. If we really take out Luis Guillorme out of this lineup, look at this. Carroll, 417. McCarthy, 437. Peterson, 470. Bell, 398. Gurriel, 351. Del Castillo, 437. Suarez, 423. Perdomo, 470. This is an absolutely crazy order that has been damaging right-handed pitching. Flip it over to the Mets' perspective here, Dubsy, and take a look at Eduardo Rodriguez. He's actually struggled mightily with right-handed batters as a left-handed pitcher, which really isn't a surprise. But in this lineup today, Lindor, Alonso, and Martinez have high ISOs and weighted on base percentages against left-handed pitching over the past 30 days. The rest of that lineup hasn't shown up all that well. So I'm looking for a bounce-back performance today out of the Arizona Diamondbacks, but not be shocked again if this game does go over the total.
Tony, I'm going to throw another one at you here. The Cardinals at home going against the Padres. San Diego have been playing some fantastic baseball over the last couple of weeks. They're right in the mix here for the National League, holding a wild card spot. They've now rattled off 4 of the last 5, and they get Joey Musgrove out there on the hill. What do we make of Musgrove and the chances here for the Padres, who are booked as your favorites?
Yeah, some rain in the forecast. You see that total at 8.5. But let's take a look at some statistics here. Andre Palante will be on the mound, the right-handed pitcher for the Cardinals. If you look at his last 30 days, let's just go the last month, 122 batters he's faced, an 0.55 ISO power number to weighted on base percentage of 262 against. Now, also keep in mind, this Padres lineup, Dubsy, is fantastic, particularly against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Every single batter we anticipate to be in the lineup today, all above average with the weighted on base percentages against right-handed pitching. If we flip it over to Musgrove, his last 56 batters that he's faced in the past 30 days since coming back from the IL, how about an 0.59 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 178? So even though we're looking at a game tonight that's going to be played in St. Louis, give me the San Diego Padres. Better lineup, better pitcher for me tonight.
15 games out there on the diamond. And I'll tell you what, the first one, fast approaching, just a couple of hours away. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates at home taking on the Cubs. And the Cubbies have been putting on some runs. It was 18 in the first game of the series. It was 9 there yesterday. But hey, all things start with Paul Skeens getting the start here for the Pirates. What's the expectations for the star ace? Will we see him out there for 5 innings, moving into 6 possibly?
We should. Let's talk about the Cubs Sunday afternoon. I was angry with them, Dubs, only scoring 2 runs, but you're right. They hit the gas pedal on Monday and Tuesday. Now looking to keep that momentum going today, but you're only as good. The momentum, we should say, only as good for the starting pitcher you're going to face the next day, and that's Paul Skeens, one of the best in Major League Baseball. If we're lining up Skeens here on the season, 401 batters he's faced, a 119 ISO against, and a weighted on base percentage of 258. How about a strikeout percentage of 33% between lefties and righties? It's amazing what he's done at his young age, but how many more times are we going to see him, particularly in the month of September? Even though the Chicago Cubs lineup does project very well to right-handed pitchers, but usually that's towards the average right-handed pitchers, not the excelling right-handed pitchers like Paul Skeens. Hendricks will be on the mound here for the Chicago Cubs. He's been okay, to say best here. What you'd want to focus on from a Pittsburgh standpoint is maybe a left-handed batter or two to go up against Hendricks. Here's the issue. The left-handed batters in the lineup don't have great numbers against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. So I'm looking to cool off that Cubs lineup here and maybe look towards an under between Chicago and Pittsburgh to start the day off at 12:35 Eastern today, Dubsy.
If we look towards that game unders, can we look towards the overs for Paul Skeens? They've got him set at 6.5, minus 125, just towards the overs. I feel like this is a reasonable number for Paul Skeens, Donnie.
Yeah, it is. And also, he has to know that his time might be running out in the 2024 season. So leave it all out there on the mound. Let's see if he can get to that 100-pitch limit. If he does, he's probably going to come very close, if not surpass, that strikeout number here for us today, Dub.